welcome to NV Board Gaming. I'm Vic.
I'm Nick.
And we're going to go through Shakespeare. This is a game published by Yastari Games and designed by RV Regal. It is a 1 to 4 player game. We're going to go through the base game and we're going to detail the Backstage expansion. Nick's going to go through how you play and then we're going to give our review.
All right, here we are set up for a 2-player game of Shakespeare. In Shakespeare, there's going to be 6 days we're playing. We're tracking it up here. And we'll have a couple dress rehearsals after day 4 and day 6 when the game ends. That's going to be 6 phases, 6 days. Let's get started. First phase always is going to be the wagering. So what we're going to do is we'll have 2 players here, the green player and the red player. They're going to take as many of these, any markers as they would like. They can do, let's say they'll do 3, and this is going to be hidden information. They're going to hold out their hand with a secret number, a certain number of these. And these they can just hold it so that no one knows what they're actually going to show. So they're going to hold out 3, and the red player, let's say the red player holds out 4. So once that's revealed, that determines turn order. So the first player that's going to go is going to be the green player because they had less of these out here. So this is going to change the turn order. And you'll notice that there's a candle here in the first spot where green got. So that means every time somebody gets first player and chooses less workers, they're going to get 1 victory point, which is tracked over here. So again, candles are victory points in this game. The whole goal of the game is to get the most. So that's done. We know who the first player is going to be. It's going to be the green player. These are going to be their workers that they're going to have. And the red player has access to 4 actions they can do. So some things you can do, this is now phase 2, is you can recruit or activate. Recruitment doesn't cost 1 of these. These cylinders, they don't cost that. You just pick which one of these you would like to add to your crew here. So you can take, let's say we take this person here. To start the game, we're actually going to get one of these free. So not free, but you're going to get to pick one of these. So let's just say I picked that one, and let's say the green player went ahead and picked this one. They're going to add to their side of the board. I'm not showing their board, but I'll add to mine. This person's going to go here. So we got people in our crew here. I have 5 now. And this will replenish when the game starts. So now we have a fresh new 4. So now back to our turn. I can recruit one of these people. I don't have to pay them yet. I just know that I will have to pay them at the end of the game. I'm going to owe them $5. This one, that's an expensive one. There's $1, $3, and $5. I believe that's all that there are. Out on the board right now, there are 3s and 5s. So we have symbols up here of what they allow us to do. This one's very powerful. It allows us to take one of these right here because you can see these squares. So this helps with our set, whereas this helps with our costumes, the circular ones. There's no circular ones out here right now, but let me show you what that looks like. If I go ahead and scroll through, here we go. She helps with set design right here. So I can get these. And that puts, when I have that value, so she was a 6. If I had her and wanted to activate her, let's say I had her over here and activated her, I can now get up to 6 values. So I could take this 4 and this 2 and assign them to any one of these areas here with circles. Now what that does is when I fill that out, I'm going to get this on the dress rehearsal. I'm going to get this bonus, which helps me move up this track right here, the red one. Also, as a one-time bonus, when I fill this out, the sum of the total, so I need 1 more. Right now I have 6, but if I were to get more, there's a little tracker down here that shows what I get. There's going to be a variation of coins and or victory points, the candles. These give you bonuses right away, except for the ones they don't actually give you bonuses. And then you put them out here. So here the bonus is this chip, which is a +3 modifier. You can see that. It's a +3 modifier to one of my characters. I can make that, for instance, that lady that we had a 6 for the dress rehearsal, for the costumes, I can make it a 9. So one time, and I spend it, now she's a 9 value. I can take better stuff. So that gives me that. and then I put it on my board. One thing to note is when I'm building this out, it has to be symmetrical. So if I put a 5 here, I know I need a 5 right here. If I put a 3 here, I need a 3 right here. So it has to be symmetrical. It doesn't matter what I put here, obviously, it's in the middle. So know that. And another thing to know is like a pyramid. So I couldn't put anything right here or here. I would need another one. Now I can put something up here. And you also know as you build up, you're going to get victory points when I hit these squares. So that's what the square ones help with your set, and that helps build out here. And the costume one with the circle helps you with your characters build out here. So you're just activating what characters you want to activate and doing those actions. Here you have activation for this track right here. At the end of the round, you're going to get a bonus or something that isn't so good. You might lose down this track. You might gain on this track. You might lose a victory point. You might gain a victory point. You might gain a coin. You might get nothing. So that's keeping track of that. Whenever you see those, and there's the frown faces out there too. Whenever you see that, that means the other player will lose one of these. Okay, and just so you know, like I said, you're not going to have to pay that salary, so don't worry about that just yet, but you will have to pay them at the end, otherwise you're going to lose victory points. Next phase, after we activate and we get more crew, optionally get more crew, I should say, we will go ahead and do the ambient phase. Let's see. That's how they say it, right? Ambience, yeah. So for this, we are going to see where we are on this track right here. What do we get? Also, there's a step regarding these purple ones right here. You're actually going to lose if no one took one of these, or if somebody didn't, you're going to end up losing down this track right here. So these are nice to take when you see these purple 3s out there. You also have a jeweler. I'll mention that he gets a special little towel right there. He's very powerful. The jeweler, anything that's gold out here, there's also gold costumes. They are like wild. So now I can actually play this legally, where normally I would need a 5. Now I can just play that 3 if I had the jeweler. He's not out here. I can dig him out real quick. No problem. Let's see. Jeweler. Here he is. Jeweler. So you can see that it has the square and the circle, either one. So you pick whichever's out there. All you have to do is activate it and take it. It's yours. They're also worth a victory point at the end of the game as well. So they are pretty powerful. But it just thinks, because the only bad thing is if there's no gold out there, then he's useless. You know, he's not going to do anything that round. So just know that. Next phase is a dress rehearsal, but again, it only happens in 4 and 6. So let's say that it is 4th round, and we'll just go ahead and place these out randomly. All right, let's say that's the 4th round. End of the 4th round, and this is what the tracks look like. Green player will not get anything. They did not reach this $1. Red player will lose a victory point because they didn't make it past this threshold. On the yellow track, and again, one thing before I mentioned, if this was filled out, they would actually get the feathers of the track. So we want to look at that first before we start doing this. But let's say I didn't actually have anything to modify. If I did, it would all be filled out. I would get 1 red before I started counting it. In this case, if I had that red, I would get that coin. I don't, so let's do this. In this case, in the yellow one, whoever's first in this line is going to get 2 victory points. Second in this line is going to get 1 victory point. So that's what we'll settle here. Here, victory points, 2 victory points for the green player. Nothing for the red player because they didn't make it to the single victory point here. That is what you're doing in dress rehearsal. And now you're going to go ahead. Oh, by the way, this after the round ends, you're going to go ahead and put that back, this tracker. And then the 5th part of the round is maintenance. So we'll replenish everything, these cards, whatever's not taken. Let's say only that card was taken. The rest of these go away. It gets replenished from the deck. And let's see. These will all get replenished. All the costumes get replenished. This gets replenished. And you're also going to see who was used this round. So anything with your cylinder on it. Let's say I used those guys right there, just those 2. Well, actually, I put more. So let's say I used the queen. The queen, I'll mention, you have a choice. Her action is 4 coins, or pick one of these objectives. You get to draw 3 and pick one. And they just give you end game points, as you can see. This lets you fire somebody, so you don't have to pay right here. This gives you victory points based on how many of these actors you hire, and these for the assistants that you hire. So they do different things. You just draw 3 and pick one. That's her action. You see Shakespeare lets you do 2, whatever color you want because they're white. So that just means whatever color they want. Those are a little bit preview more about actions. But now we rest. So let's say I use these. When you rest, you take these markers right here, and you are gonna mark down which ones are resting. All of them have to rest except for 1. So if I did 3 of these, 2 of them have to rest. So I'm gonna take these 2 chips, and I'm gonna decide I don't wanna use the queen action next round, and I don't need to use this guy's action next round, but his I would like to use. So that is that. That is a round of Shakespeare. So this would go to whatever round we're going to, and we would start up again with the wagering. The game's gonna end after 6 days. See who the winner is. Let's see. At the end of the game, we're gonna score our objective cards. We're gonna get a prestige point for each yellow element, meaning the gold. Remember the jeweler that was able to get those? You get a victory point for each one of those. And you're gonna lose victory points based on people that you could not pay. And that will cost them 2 prestige points if you're not able to pay them. And that's basically how you're gonna play this game. I'm gonna give you a little overview of what the expansion adds. All right, now let's talk about what we get in our expansion here. This little deck of cards, essentially. Shakespeare Backstage. So this changes the game quite a bit for what you get right there, that little box. So let's go over a few things here. Let's go with some simple things. We get some more objective cards right there. You're gonna get, so these, you'll notice right here, these masks. That means you can just do these actions. So I can just go up 3 in that track. I can do that. I can go ahead and take 6 of those. So in any combination, whatever, as long as it's total 6. So it's little things you can just go ahead and do. You don't have to just meet something. You can go ahead and get 1 feather of that. Move up on one of these tracks. So you get 5 more of those. You're gonna get some new folks out here in your crew. Mostly self-explanatory. The bear is a little different. You're gonna have this bear is gonna mean that you get first pick regardless if you're first player or not. You're gonna be able to put your worker out first. Doesn't matter. But he costs 3, and his little bonus right here isn't very good. It's 1 feather. But I mean, it's good. It's fine. It helps you. It definitely is powerful as far as going first player. I'll tell you that much. Because then you could have the first 2 actions if you already are the first player. This allows you to mess with your opponent a little bit. They have to lose a feather, but they are pretty expensive. Their ability here is to use that queen, same as a queen action right there. Just a couple of different things. You get the +3 modifier with her, and I don't think anything else really is nothing you're gonna understand. As long as you know the base game, you'll be able to figure these out. The only thing that was a little tricky was the bear, just because 0. So essentially, it's going before the 1. So that's how that labeled. Some more things. The biggest thing right here, Backstage deck. We also get these little candle things. When we're talking about the Backstage deck, I think I go ahead and pull out the card which is applicable to this. Here's the card that works with your stage right here, the stage card, theater card. Now you can take, if these are on display, I'll explain how these work. So you know, in the base game, when we revealed how many we had, if I had shown 4, that means I left 1 to do nothing. Now, in the base game, I put this on top of the deck here. My opponent does the same thing with any unused cylinders. They're gonna go ahead and put 1 or 2 or 3, how many ever they didn't use, on top of this. Now these can actually do cool things with the deck. So we actually start with 4 out here, just like we would with the other cards that we can recruit. And now you can deploy one of the cylinders from your deck just to use this action. So if I did 1 cylinder right there, I can go ahead and take 1. If there was a 1 set on the board, I can go ahead and take it and place it on here. And you see the first time I place it, I get 1 victory point. Now, I probably wouldn't want to do that. I'd probably want to take this 2, 3, or 4 because 1s don't have any abilities on the back. And actually, these abilities, everything that below, as long as you keep putting things here, is going to trigger when I place things over it. So the 1 isn't as powerful because it triggers nothing. So I would want at least a 2, if ideally. But if I only have 1 thing right here, that's fine. I'll go ahead and take the 1, put it there, and get my victory point just for doing that. What am I, the red player? Whatever. 1 victory point, blah. Okay, and then I can get another victory point at the top here when I build that up. But that's the character that does this right here. And it shows a little symbol in the right here in the circle that shows you, okay, look at this card to do that action. And there's different things you can do. There's a Lord deck, which is just 9 cards that were taken out of the deck, and they're placed face up. So you can put 1 cylinder here to take the very top card and add him, or you can go ahead and put 2 cylinders there, and you can look at all cards in this and pick the one that you would like to add. And this one, the resting, you can -1 rest token. Normally if I played 3, I would have to rest 2, just 1 less. Now you can rest even less. So if I played 3, I only have to rest 1 card, so I can use those other 2 in the next round. And these all do different abilities out here. There's just, a lot of them will be self-explanatory. This one lets you add a hat. That one's a little tricky, just because now you have to place an extra circle out here, and if your total is exactly 6, you get a victory point. So different things out here. Without getting the jeweler, you can place 2 there to get one of those gold by using a cylinder here, using 2 of them actually. So that is a lot of what you're getting in this expansion. New objectives, new characters, backstage pass. There you go. Hey, welcome back. We are going to give our reviews for Shakespeare base game and its expansion, Backstage. First base game for me, solid score of 7-8, very solid. Not going to hit the 8s for me. I do like a lot of things going on. It's different. I haven't played a game quite like it. So there are some cool mechanisms with the costumes and the set. There are some cool things there where you're picking things, assigning things. You get bonuses for higher scores in the costumes. You get to build up that pyramid. You get to trigger different things in the back of the set. There are some cool ideas here. There are some things I feel like on the action phases that it's lacking, where I want to do a little bit more than just activate these cards right here and acquire new cards. It feels like it's missing something. So I'm not encouraging you. It's not a recommend to buy. It is a recommend to try and know that it's a little restrictive in that regard. That you're just really doing the actions on your cards, and in some cases making those cards a little bit better when you do a dress rehearsal. So it's a middling. Like, it could have been better. There could have been action on the board I could do maybe with these cylinders. So just for the base game, I'm giving it a 7-8. Try it. Not necessarily going to say to go buy it. What do you got, Vic?
For the base game, I scored it a 7.9. Very close to you, as usual. I don't know what... We don't talk about this ahead of time, so it's pretty wild. Everything that Nick said, I will say with the rehearsals, I think that's something that you have to be mindful of when those rehearsals are taking place and how you can complete out the cards. And maybe, it's up to you to acquire cards that have those spaces for the costume designs to be put in. And also, when you're going to take a card, that is something you have to think about. Just because you take a jeweler and there's no jewelry available and then you have to keep waiting, that can be a little bit unfortunate, or maybe you're planning ahead. Even for me, I took a card where I was waiting on a green decoration to come out, and then he took it as fast as he could, the one decoration, twice. So...
Common sense.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? And so, it can be a little bit cutthroat in that way, and you can miss out on the one thing you need. And there are important decisions that you have to make. Sometimes you have to sacrifice, going for a card. There's only 4 available. Are you going to take one? Are you going to go for a decoration right away because there's only one of those? And the symmetry in the stage is another thing you have to consider when you're taking a stage decoration. Yep, and the definitely. Impact of losing morale of your people. It wasn't huge. I mean, the penalties aren't nasty. They're not that bad. But it is also something, I was maxing out a lot of the time, and I was going beyond. So at one point in our second game, it wasn't really even a problem.
I think that was with the expansion.
Yeah.
That's why.
I will give you my score for, before Nick gives his. I gave it an 8.2 as an expansion on its own. Reason being, I like that it gave you some use for the cylinders that you didn't hold in your hand in the sort of, what is that, a hidden bidding?
Yeah.
I like that part. I mean, it does. I stared at Nick and I get kind of scared and I don't know what he's going to do. And sometimes I outsmart him. Sometimes he gets me. And I like that part. It's kind of fun. But it's great with the expansion that you're able to actually put those cylinders to use, and you can grab some high-level decorations and put them at the top of your stage, so you don't have to worry about the symmetry considerations. And you can also take the benefits of each time you put down a decoration. You take all the subsequent ones. So that was pretty great. One thing I will say, and maybe Nick will agree, and I'll let him give his score for the expansion, but I found that there were a couple cards that weren't quite clear in the instruction, because it's really only one sheet in that little pack, where we didn't know fully what the expectation was if you were to put your cylinder there. What did you think of the expansion?
Yeah, you hit a couple good points there, so I'm going to go ahead and give the score and explain it. 7-9, so it is worth playing with the expansion, because it, like Vic said, it does let you use those cylinders that you did not use. It gives you an ability for that. That's the coolest part of the expansion. It's not even close.
Yeah.
Using that to do different things. Because like I said, the game was lacking to do different things. So that fixed that. It didn't fix some other issues I had with the base game. That's why it's still not going to get an 8. It didn't fix, like I still wasn't triggering anything but cards that I had. And now with my used cylinders, maybe I'm getting this one-time thing. And it's okay. It's the best part of the game. It's okay. It's not amazing. It didn't help the game that much to where I'm saying, oh, now I'm in the 8s. Now you got to buy it. It didn't do quite enough for me. The rules, like Vic said, weren't terribly great. They tried to make it minimalistic, and a lot of things weren't explained completely well with some of these cards, or the wording was like, why wouldn't you just say this and not just leave it so vague? I don't like when games cut corners like that. Yeah, it's nice to have one little sheet, whatever, but come on. You know that there's going to be questions on this rule. So I don't like when games do that. Like, come on, just why do you got to make it so much extra? Why do I have to check? Why do I have to Google? Why do I have to go to BGG and find out whether people like, oh, now I can find out from the designer how this actually is, because if he actually looks at the forums. So really what I'm getting at is when I see this box, all right, and now I have an expectation of what I'm getting. If I don't see this box and I hear Shakespeare expansions, this isn't what I'm hoping for. This isn't the game where I have more actions on the board, I'm doing different things, and Vic's trying to get her actions in before I do whatever. It's not that kind of worker placement. But when I have this expectation that all I'm getting is deck of cards, then okay, all right, this was a pretty solid expansion for this little box. So I guess 7-9, play with the expansion, I would say, over not. For sure, you got to play with it. But it's underwhelming if you just think of it as a Shakespeare expansion, which you expect to be a little bit better than that. But that's just our take.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought of the Shakespeare expansion, and if you've played this game. Like our video, and please do subscribe to our channel. We put out videos many times a week, and we appreciate any subscribers that we have. Thank you so much.
See you guys.